Chip seconds. Okay, chip seconds. Bowe, Butler, you were already given instructions in your respective dressing rooms. Any question? Okay, seconds, come out firing.
East German.
Well, when you talk about where is the fresh talent going to come from in the heavyweight division to possibly contend down the road for the championship against Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe's name comes up, but certainly after the performance as an amateur, the jury is out on Riddick Bowe in the white trunks. A free spirit, very bad training habits as an amateur. The experts with no high expectations, although he has the tools. And there is one boxing expert who believes in Riddick Bowe, and that is certainly an indication of maybe things will turn for him. Eddie Futch is now in his corner.
Eddie Futch has been around boxing for years. He's had 15 world champions, 77 years old. Riddick Bowe came to him, said, please manage me. And Eddie Futch said, I'm 77 years old. I don't have the time unless you're serious. Riddick Bowe showed he's serious.
Do you think they have notions of Mike Tyson down the road? Here's his first opponent as a pro, Lionel Butler. And you take a look at his size, 6 feet 200, and he is down.
He's already down. Nice right hand by Riddick Bowe. It was kind of a sweeping right hand that landed up right on the side of the jaw. Left side of the jaw, and down went Lionel Butler.
Butler taking this fight on 2 days' notice, 0-1 as a professional, and now he is bending down, looking to haul away. One thing Eddie Futch is working on with Riddick Bowe is getting more confidence with that right hand. Remember, that's the hand that he underwent surgery, had popped a tendon last April before the Olympics. So he wants him to work on the right. He now has his man cornered.
And Eddie Futch says that Riddick Bowe is a great listener. He follows instructions from the corner. That's so important for these young fighters, especially with people like Eddie Futch who have been around a long while. Bowe said that Tyson was very lucky with Frank Bruno in knocking Bruno out. Tyson stunned, of course, in the first round with a left hook. I asked him about that. He said he's been working on the left hook a bit more in the gym because of specifically of that reason with Tyson.
Riddick Bowe lost the super heavyweight final to Canada's Lennox Lewis. A stoppage in the second round. Sterling amateur career, 204 victories, 7 defeats, 146 knockouts for Bowe. He has the size, he has the tools, says Eddie Futch. Now he just has to get the head in order.
And he's ready to get this first pro fight out of the way. The first fight in the professional ranks really does something to a fighter. It makes him realize that now he's in business of this. Lionel Butler coming on with some good combinations. The best defense in boxing is a good offense, and that's what he's trying to show.
He also knows this Butler, there is somewhat of a question mark about the chin of Riddick Bowe. And right now he is in close on Bowe. Butler went down early here in the first round. And we are down to 20 seconds left. Al Albert along with Sean O'Grady and Michael Marley ringside at the Lawler Event Center. And tonight, Mancini and Camacho will finally step in the ring.
Both of these guys getting hit way too much in this first round. Riddick Bowe, Eddie Futch told me that he was having Bowe use his jab more and more movement from his head. He's not showing that here in this first round. I'll bet you he gets some advice between rounds. There's Lionel Butler going back to his corner. Jimbo Stevens in there, getting in the ring now. Butler, I saw late last night, walking the streets at 10:30. The night before the fight, he should be in bed by 10.
He's working with a great jab, Riddick Bowe. Good mobility for his size. Matter of fact, Futch talking about how he surprised him with such a good lateral movement.
And let's see if we see that here.
And right now, it is Lionel Butler coming out on top of Bowe. Slugfest here to start the second round.
Super round by Lionel Butler. He needs to stay on the inside like that against Riddick Bowe. He can't let that 80-inch reach extend. 90% of the power of the punch is right on the end. It's that snap, the twist. And if Lionel Butler gets out there on the end of Riddick Bowe's punches, he's going down like he did in the first round.
And he goes down there, hobbling around.
Low blow. Carlos Padilla giving a timeout. The punch was a little bit south of the border for Lionel Butler.
And Butler is back in.
sometimes what Riddick Bowe is having to do is he's having to reach down to get the body of Lionel Butler. And in doing that, sometimes he has to go a little bit south of the border because he doesn't quite know where the body is. Big left hook. The right uppercut again set it up. Another combination.
The count is 7. And Butler hearing Padilla well.
Butler is showing signs of fatigue. He's ready to go. If Riddick Bowe can get right on top of him and throw a lot of combinations, he can knock Butler out.
And Bowe looking to put it away right here in the second round. There's the time remaining. Lionel Butler, though, standing in there, trading, pushing Bowe along the ropes.
Butler doesn't fight unless he gets knocked down.
And there he goes, and that is it.
He didn't want to be in there. Carlos Padilla did a good job. Lionel Butler did not want to go in be in that ring.
And Riddick Bowe, successful in his pro debut, the 6th Olympian who registers a victory. Todd Foster was the first. And then on the undercard of Duran Barkley last Friday, Ray Mercer, Andrew Maynard, Kennedy McKinney, and Michael Carbajal, all with victories. And now Riddick Bowe officially a professional.
And this is the one that he was really concerned about. He wanted to get this behind him. Now it's behind him, and he can go on with his career.
And he is looking to stay very active. There you see the veteran Eddie Futch in the corner. Riddick Bowe goes into the second round before he ends this. He is scheduled for his next fight to be back home in New York at the Felt Forum at Madison Square Garden on March 30th. He wants to fight every 2 to 3 weeks. Actually, Sean, what set this up here in the second round was the low blow.
Well, sometimes in the heat of battle, you unfortunately, unintentionally go south of the border. Watch what he does. He reaches down trying to get the body and hits him just a little bit low. Now, these men are wearing foul-proof protectors. You can see the top of it on the top of Riddick Bowe's trunks. There's a foul-proof protector, so these guys can't really get hurt that bad. However, sometimes they slide. Now, here's the knockdown in the chin. Boom, the uppercut and the left hook. Now, he lifted him up with the uppercut. He lifted his head up, and then he tried to knock it off with the left hook.
And the end of the fight, the third time down in the fight for Lionel Butler, who was game stayed on top of Riddick Bowe, who pounded from inside for the final knockdown.
The end was not far away, and Lionel Butler at that point wanted to get out of the ring. He was thinking about being some other place. But Lionel Butler gets past his first pro debut, and now he is a professional.
Riddick Bowe getting past Lionel Butler. And for the official time, let's go to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Carlos Padilla stops the bout at 1 minute, 55 seconds of the second round. The winner by TKO, winning his professional debut, Riddick Bowe.
Round number 1, scheduled for 6. Riddick Bowe in the black trunks and Lorenzo Canady in the gold. Riddick calls himself Batman Bowe. Came out in a Batman cloak for the introduction. A little showbiz early on in his pro career. He is 4-0 with 3 knockouts. The silver medalist in the Olympic Games at the super heavyweight weight, losing to Lennox Lewis of Canada. Lorenzo Canady, 8-5-1 with 2 knockouts. 37-3 as an amateur, and a 4-time Detroit Golden Glove champion. As you pointed out, Gil, Canady has really had quite a bit of experience in a short pro career.
Well, Tim, he's fought some of the toughest guys in the business, including Mike Tyson. Of course, they only went 1 with Iron Mike, but he's been in with these tough guys: Willie DeWitt, Alex Stewart,
and has sparred with the likes of Jerry Cooney, Leon Spinks, Tim Witherspoon, Pinklin Thomas, and Evander Holyfield.
And he's been in camp with Holyfield, so they say he's in pretty good shape, although physically he doesn't look it to me. Big spare tire around the middle. Good right hand by Riddick Bowe.
First good contact punch of the fight here in round number 1. In his last outing on our CBS card, July 2nd in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Bowe had an easy time, a first-round stoppage of Antonio Whiteside. Canady banging to the body in the last exchange. And with the jab, it missed with the overhand right behind it. Riddick Bowe, a long amateur career. 204 victories, 7 defeats. 4-time New York Golden Glove champ. Short punches inside by Bowe, backing up Canady. Under a minute left, and Canady appears to be in a little bit of trouble here. Maybe just off balance. Bowe trying to force the issue, and Cannady's legs don't look real good at this point. Short right by Bowe, and a left behind it, and another left. Canady firing back, and then Canady appeared to just lose his balance there off not much of a punch, although it is a knockdown.
That's going to help Canady, Tim. It's going to give him a chance to collect himself. He was really all off balance in that exchange.
Under 30 seconds we go. Bowe sticks the jab in the face of Canady. Another short right to the ear. That rocked Canady again.
Bowe is an impressive-looking heavyweight, Tim. Built beautifully. Puts his punches together well.
And there's the end of round number 1, and Canady knocked out balance right at the bell. Round number 2, Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy watching Riddick Bowe in black, Lorenzo Canady in gold. Bowe, the silver medalist, super heavyweight at Seoul, scored a knockdown in round 1 over Canady with a right to the body.
And Tim, you know, Bowe has all the ingredients to make a real good heavyweight. 6'5", can punch with either hand. The knock on him is he was never in condition, but he looks like he's in great condition right now.
Wait! No punching, no punching. Step back, good. Come on, let's go.
Referee is Jimmy Orlando. Going by 3 judges, all from the state of New Jersey.
Let's go.
Rocky Castellani, Gene Williams, and Al DeVito doing the scoring.
Break! Come on, hey, when I say break, I want both of you to stop punching. Let's go.
And Bowe gave that little amateur bout, Tim. I guess some of that stuff remains with you. Now he switches to southpaw. Why would a guy switch to southpaw when he was doing so good the other way?
Short right inside by Riddick Bowe, and he has shown some effectiveness at those short punches in close.
Keep him up, Lorenzo. Come on.
Canady warning for a low blow, but his best punches so far have been to the body.
Nice combination by Riddick Bowe. Beautiful combination. Looks like a real good heavyweight, Tim.
There's a good left hook. Canady staying closer to him this round, trying to smother some of those punches, but Bowe, as we said, has been effective inside. Right to the body by Bowe again. Under a minute to go, round 2, scheduled for 6.
Break! No punches. Step back, step back.
Canady with his mouth wide open here in the second round, Gil, and that little extra weight he's carrying over his belt maybe taking its effect already.
That and the punishment that Riddick Bowe has been dealing out, Tim. Vicious punishment.
Under 30 seconds we go, round 2.
Back out of here. Back out.
You know, Bowe watches everybody besides the opponent. Big right hand by Riddick Bowe.
Another one on the left. He's got Canady in trouble again. Canady trying to get close enough to grab on. Bowe firing away. Under 10 seconds left in round 2. Well, Lorenzo Canady decided he needed no more punishment from Riddick Bowe. He quit on the stool here at the end of 2. Doctor's now in to examine him, but it was Cannady's decision, telling his handlers and then the referee, Jimmy Orlando, that he did not want to continue. So a 3rd round knockout at the end of 2 for Riddick Bowe, who now moves to 5-0 with 4 knockouts and an impressive short performance by Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe looked like a real good heavyweight to me, Tim. Looks to me like he has it all. He has the size, puts his punches together, takes a good punch. You got to hit a couple of good punches. Didn't bother him at all. And he overworks that right hand. Look at that right hand. And there's the hook behind it. Very impressive performance by Riddick Bowe. This is a major heavyweight contender to be, or soon, or whatever. But he's a great prospect. It looks to me like he could really have the makings of a champion.
So Riddick Bowe, as we see him from our overhead camera, throwing that right hand to the face of Canady that nearly sent him to the canvas at the end of round 2, scores a knockout victory and is now 5-0 as a professional. And while they're talking about his Olympic teammate Ray Mercer, we will be also keeping our eye on Riddick Bowe as perhaps a future contender for the crown of Mike Tyson. Well, the man who wears the Batman T-shirt and came in the Batman cloak is Riddick Batman Bowe. And tell us about that. I want to know, are they paying you to promote the film, Riddick?
Well, not at all. As a kid, I liked it, Batman, and, you know, the show's coming out pretty soon, and I thought today would be a good time to wear it.
All right, Riddick. Well, we've invited you outside here on this beautiful afternoon outside of Harrah's Marina Casino. Congratulate you on a good performance. Gil Clancy, I don't know whether you could hear him, but Gil was calling you a major heavyweight prospect. Do you agree with his assessment?
Without a doubt, I'm glad he feels that way.
Well, I'll tell you, Riddick, I didn't always feel that way. You were a guy that always had all the potential in the world, but somehow your head was never quite into it. I've seen you in many a fight when you weren't in the tip-top condition, which you're supposed to be every time you go in the ring. But the Riddick Bowe I saw today was a real legitimate heavyweight. 6'5", punch with either hand, put your punches together. And I was watching you closely. You expended a lot of energy in that second round, threw a lot of punches. You weren't taking a deep breath. You're a different Riddick Bowe.
Yes, you know, thank to Rock Newman, my manager. He's pushed me, and, you know, I guess that's what I needed.
Well, you needed somebody, and I guess Rock Newman deserves a lot of credit because I can see a complete difference. What about that, Tim?
Well, I agree with you, absolutely. And I wanted to ask him about Eddie Futch, who is not here today. He is going to be your trainer, however, and he obviously has high hopes for you.
Yes, indeed. I'm hoping everything will go well for Eddie. He was in an accident recently, and hopefully he can work with me in the next fight.
You know, Riddick, again, that was an impressive performance. Canady wasn't in the best of shape, but he's an experienced guy. To me, I thought it was going to be a much tougher fight. He's been in with a lot of real tough guys, and none of them looked as good as you look today against Canady.
Well, you know, again, thanks to Rock Newman. He's with me every morning. He wakes me up to run and what have you, and we was in great shape for this fight.
Well, I'd like to talk to Rock because I'd like to get some of those secrets. Get this big lazy guy up every morning. Sorry about that, lazy, but you won.
All right, Riddick. Good luck to you the rest of the way. Good start in your pro career. 6-0, 5-0, make it for Riddick Bowe. Well,
real confident boxer at this point. Nice young man, but Riddick fought on my birthday, and
I'm not going to be home, so I'm going to use the airwaves.
it's okay. Wish you a happy birthday.
I asked Earl Lewis what he knew about Riddick Bowe, and he said, all I know is he's a silver medalist.
The knockout ratio, which tells him that it wasn't in the 400 meters, right?
That's right.
Riddick, obviously a powerful young man. He was effective in the Olympics, winning a silver medal, which is no small feat. And in the rush to gold, oh, there's a left hook that hurts Lewis, and he's ready to go.
On his way. And down goes Earl Lewis.
Well, truthfully, we really didn't expect much more here. A late replacement was Earl Lewis, and he's rocked early, so.
On his feet, but who knows for how long. Good fight. Earl Lewis down and out. There won't be a count. And once again, this is the second time in 2 weeks that we've worked together, at least, we've seen a fighter go through the ropes.
Yeah, which is not a good situation. That no further damage was done. Earl Lewis still very, very shaky, and they need to really attend to him. Bowe nailed him. He had hurt him with the left hook, and then here he's wailing away on the ropes, and the straight right hand to the head of Earl Lewis sends him down. And after this, we'll see him go. And now straight right hand. He was out when he got hit with that left hook.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 10.
1 minute, 26 seconds of the very first round. The winner by knockout victory, knockout number 7, victory number 8, the undefeated silver medalist, Riddick Sugar Bear Bowe.
Silver medalist at Seoul, Riddick Bowe. His 9th professional fight in the black trunks. He has won all 8, 7 by knockout. And going up against 28-year-old Mike Acey, who is 10-3-1. He won his first 10 fights all by KO, but since a record of 0-3-1. And Acey is a walk-in fighter who will be made to order for Riddick Bowe. Bowe at 6'5", 230 and a quarter. Even looks away to his corner here at the start of the first round. And he has had a hectic September. 3 fights in the course of 16 days, won all 3 by first-round knockout. And if he continues to fight some of this kind of competition, he could fight every other day.
Well, this kind of competition, Mike Acey found out about this fight on Sunday. He says that he is a slugger. His best punch, though, is a combination, he says, the right hand and left hook. Let's see if we see it now. He's already turning away. This is where I said last time we saw Riddick Bowe fight, it's time to close the show. Look at Acey turn away when Riddick Bowe even feints at him. Nice left hook by Bowe. Bowe's a good-looking fighter. When we saw him against on the undercard, here it is already this first round. This fight's not going long. We saw him on the undercard against Lionel Butler. Camacho Mancini. He looked like he needed some schooling. He's gone back to work, back in the gym. He's been studying boxing very well. Looks quite impressive here.
But will not get much schooling in this fight. Looking to pad the record and ready shortly to up the competition.
He does need to up the competition, but he also needs to use this fight to learn. What did he need to learn? The most important thing in the Lionel Butler fight, he needed to learn to use the left jab, and he's not used it much here in this first round. But he hasn't had to. Look at that good movement. The right hand, he set it up too. He rocked all of his weight back on his back foot, and he landed.
7, I'm not going to let you take much more. 8, 9, okay, pal?
Ted Pick will let him go for one more. 40 seconds ago, 3 knockdown rule is in effect, and there it is.
That's all. The best shot, though. This fight's over. Mike Acey did not want to fight.
This fight should have never begun.
Riddick Bowe looked a little bit better this time than he did the last time. He's still a learning fighter, still schooling inside the ropes. You can learn a lot from a fighter like a Mike Acey, even though it's no competition for someone like Bowe. You can learn how to set up your punches. You can learn some of the things, practice them in front of the crowd that you've practiced in the gym.
So Mike Acey serves up as a sacrificial lamb to Riddick Bowe, who ups his record to 9-0 with his 8 knockouts. And I think it's time for Riddick, as he's now being attended by Eddie Futch, to step in the ring.
Our card starts with Art Card taking on another hopeful, Riddick Bowe. So we are just about set to go. Riddick Bowe, one of the promising heavyweights, and a guy who seems to be improving with every out. Started a little slow coming out of the amateurs, but he's coming on faster and faster, and his opponents, as you point out, Dave, aren't around very long.
Riddick Bowe has uncovered a pattern. Fight often, but make it short. 8 of his 11 fights in the past 8 months haven't lasted 2 rounds. Neither did this one against Lorenzo Canady. Bowe established his power to make the fight short, and in the year of Batman's comeback, Bowe made Canady the Joker. Earl Lewis fared no better against the caped invader. Bowe showed him the canvas immediately, and it was an omen. Lewis met his demise in round 2, as Bowe continued marching through his foes. This Batman has found no villains.
So there's a look at Riddick Bowe, and here's a look at the other half of this matchup, Art Card, and you have to consider this a pretty tough task.
Yes, he's coming in here against a highly heralded opponent, and he comes in here with, he works a full-time job. Bowe gets all the attention and really can just concentrate on boxing. But there's opportunity here for Card, as many fighters like to come in with that underdog expectation.
That's exactly what he figures. He figures this is my chance. This is going to really either catapult me, or if nothing else, it's not going to hurt me.
Well, a lot of times, if you can be ready, it shortcuts a lot of years of hard work if you can get that win.
All right, let's meet these two officially now. Let's get up to the center of the ring and the ring announcer, America's Michael Butler.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the home of the National Hockey League Sabres, the home of the National Football League Bills, Buffalo, New York. Welcome here to the University of Buffalo Alumni Arena, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated and the King of Beers Budweiser presents professional boxing for your entertainment. These bouts are presented in association with Buffalo Sports Promotions. They're sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Randy Gordon, chairman, assistant to the chairman, Richard S. Herring, deputy commissioner, former welterweight champion of the world, Billy Backus. The three judges at ringside are Don Ackerman, Ruben Garcia, and Don Notiker. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Evan Evans, Dr. Andy Rizzo, and Dr. Mel King. Inspectors at ringside, Tony Pettarelli and Bob Rosetta. The timekeeper is Bob Olson, and the referees working on an alternating basis with the alternate counting for the knockdown seconds are Jim Santa and Frank Adams. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started with 6 rounds in the heavyweight division. The referee for this bout is Jim Santa. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing the black trunks and weighs an even 210 pounds. From Cleveland, Ohio, an excellent professional record of 7 victories, 4 by KO, only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, Art Card. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with white trim. He weighed in at 232.5 pounds from Brooklyn, New York. He's undefeated as a professional with a record of 11-0, 10 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a silver medal winner in the super heavyweight division from the 1988 Olympics, presenting Riddick Buffalo Bill Bowe.
Well, I hope when he fights in Louisiana, they don't call him Louise.
New York State Boxing Association. You're here to obey those rules. Listen to my commands and we'll have a good fight. Touch gloves.
There's a look at Art Card. As we mentioned, he figures this is my chance. He has a full-time job. We'll talk more about that. Dave Bontempo already mentioned it. Meanwhile, Riddick Bowe, confidence this man does not want for.
And when you look at the matchup of the fighters, first the size when they come together. Take a look at that reach that Riddick Bowe has.
He's big at 6'6", 232 pounds. And he really does seem to be improving, working nicely behind a jab.
And this is probably the most dangerous part of the fight for an opponent. He might be his most dangerous very early.
Get those punches out. Let's go.
As they back up, and Card doing some of his best work here, pinning Bowe against the ropes. Bowe has been looking to work on some tricks. Double jabbing, going to the body a few times.
Nice
good uppercut by Riddick Bowe.
Art Card, as we've said, works from 2 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning at the post office in Cleveland. Then he goes to sleep for 4 or 5 hours. Then he goes to the gym. Boy, is that a difficult task.
Get up and get your coffee and then spar. And he doesn't have the typical post office job. He goes to the post offices and delivers the mail that's already been where he is. So it's a totally, not only a tough schedule, but it's mixed up as far as day and night is concerned.
Nice uppercut again by Bowe inside.
And he's coming at Card like he senses a weakness derived from that uppercut.
Riddick Bowe's people, of course, have made the obligatory challenge to Tommy Morrison and to Ray Mercer. They say, we'll fight you right now. Money is of no importance. And he says, of course, no interest from either party.
It's nice to make a challenge, too, when you know they're not going to accept, regardless of whatever happens. Mercer is being brought along at his pace, Morrison at his, and they're not designed ever to meet until there's some money on the line.
I think basically, too, all the conversation is centered around Morrison and Mercer, and off their last performance, all of a sudden Riddick Bowe is going to start to emerge.
That's what happens the first time a fighter looks a little bit vulnerable when he goes in there. But I think it's something that will work out to their benefit in the long run. There's nothing wrong with tough fights early in one's career.
Bowe has not had those. He's gotten people out of there in a hurry. He wants to fight 3 more times, he says, before the end of 1989.
That would make 15 fights in 9 months. A Tyson-like pace.
A little short with that right hand. Didn't miss by much.
Art Card is taking some shots, but he's trying to do what he needs to, and that's get inside.
And he is trying to smother him, and he does get there with a couple of shots. And Card, clearly the crowd favorite here. We'll be back.
Art Card's blueprint, getting close and land the uppercut if you can.
Started to have some success with that at the end of the first round. And in Riddick Bowe's corner, boy, talk about a brain trust. He's got Eddie Futch, who has been around boxing, I think, longer than dirt.
He's seen all the good, bad, and the dirt of boxing.
What a wonderful guy, and what a boxing mind he is.
Several world champions, including Michael Spinks, Larry Holmes. So he's a pretty good expert on heavyweights.
And your card in the first round given to Bowe.
Primarily for his early work.
You know, we should talk before we get too far into this evening about the scoring system in New York. It's going to vary a little bit from your own, I think.
In New York, what I just scored 10-9 might be more variably called a 10-8 because they want to, for a good boxing round, score 10-8 and use 10-9 only if it's a very tight round.
Other parts of the country, of course, 10-8 is only if there's a knockdown or a really lopsided round. But not here. In fact, here they say it's very likely that we could even see a 10-7 round.
I like the system. It brings the judges into it a little bit more and rewards the boxers. They tried to do that in New Jersey. It just didn't catch on.
Right hand by Bowe.
And he's starting to fight like he doesn't want the judges to enter into it at all. That chopping right hand will be there for him if he doesn't let Card smother him.
Just one final note on the scoring system. On our card here, on Dave Bontempo's card, he will score it the way we scored everywhere else in the country. So there may be a little difference.
Let's go. Watch the holding. Watch the holding.
Here's a big left hand by Bowe. It's a counter left.
And Art Card took it and kept coming. That's a good sign for him. This is the most durable opponent that Bowe has had in quite a while.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing about Art Card is he does look like he's come in here in reasonably good shape.
Bowe came off a 1-round knockout victory, and there you see his percentage. And before that, a 4-round knockout over Garing Lane, who he'd gotten a decision over before.
Card just got a right hand in close. Actually, Card is doing some reasonably good work in close, and it almost seems like Bowe is really fighting Card's fight.
He's backing up, and he's allowing Card to get those uppercuts in, which Card has to have. The shorter fighter, there's no way he can do anything unless he's at this distance. Bowe is trying to work in there as he uses the chopping rights and goes to the body a little bit.
It'll be interesting to hear what Eddie Futch has to say to Riddick Bowe between these rounds, and we are going to be able to do that. Nice combination there by Bowe, but he took a left hand from Card, comes back with a left hand of his own, and now Card backs up and is in trouble. Never did hear the bell there.
I gave him 1 warning, 3 warnings, he loses 2 points, okay?
Bowe, you got to punch up. This guy's down underneath you. You got to get down low and punch up with both hands. Up to the body, straighten him up, and then go to the head. Understand that? Okay.
Right.
You got to use that jab, a little more jab here. You jab to the head, and he's slipping inside. See? Jab along here. Just by chest high.
You got to punch up, says Eddie Futch.
Card does his best work here, throwing the left hook and pressuring Bowe. This is where he threw the uppercuts earlier in the round. At the end of the round, Bowe got his in a nice uppercut, and then his Card comes out on the left hook and the right, which if given more time, he might have put Card away.
So now let's see if Riddick Bowe goes to school on what Papa Smurf, as he calls Eddie Futch, told him.
What he wanted him to do was raise Card up by going to the body more and using the uppercut so that Card becomes a bigger target. Card is consciously crouching, and there he goes.
A left hand set it up, and a right hand put him down.
The continuation that was there at the end of round 2. Bowe ran out of time. Card is in big trouble now.
Yeah, his legs are gone now.
A long way to go in the round.
Nice uppercut. That is exactly what Eddie Futch said. You heard it.
Now you see that Card is a bigger target. He's standing higher, and a chopping right hand thrown down at him now can land.
And some good body work by Bowe as well.
In the first couple rounds, Bowe was going over the top with that right hand, but if Card stands up, he's a bigger target, he'll get hit.
2 uppercuts again.
And there's a hard body shot that Card is going to feel tomorrow. That's what they want to get Bowe away from. The chopping right missed over the top.
I also thought what Eddie Futch said about throwing his jab at the man's chest rather than at his head is an interesting strategy.
He wants Card reacting to that jab and doing anything to lift himself up to get into the path of a right hand. Card has to crouch low and come in there like a little fireball, which he did before he got hit.
Card has lost a lot of steam here.
And the reason he's up, aside from the fact that he's crowded Bowe has abandoned his jab in this fight. Really has not been a prominent weapon. I think that's one reason he hasn't had his right hand measured.
Short left hand hurt Card again. He's ready to go once more. It won't take much more.
Bowe should have followed up there.
Uppercut and the left hand behind it. 2 jabs there. When he works behind the jab, you can see how effective he is. Card holding on.
This could be a standing 8. And it's just a warning.
Grabbing.
You see the tired arms of Card there as he leaned in and just tried to grab Bowe.
Nice uppercut and the left hand behind that. And another. Bowe really working the uppercut, working the body very well in this round.
Oh, a moral victory for Card. He may get through this round.
Second warning to Card for holding. Good body shot again by Bowe. Bowe doing everything right in this round, except perhaps not utilizing the jab quite as much as he could. Card heading for a neutral corner, so.
He looked like he didn't want to come out for the 4th round anyway. There's a guy that's taken his best chance already and has not come up big. And if I were in his corner, Barry, I wouldn't let him come out for the 4th.
Yeah, I agree. It's really a lost cause. He looks, you can see it, he looks like a tired and hurt fighter.
And the left hook, crisped by Riddick Bowe, but Bowe has to reload here. They're going to look at tapes of that fight. There's the right hand knockdown, which he had a lot of time. The uppercut really coming into play. A nice 2-punch shot.
And they have stopped the fight. And I believe it was, as you surmised, the corner of Art Card who just said, no, we're not going to do this. And I think it's the right thing.
He took a nice try in this fight in the 2nd round. Got close to Riddick Bowe, punched well, landed some uppercuts, and had Bowe thinking about some consequences here. But in the 3rd round, it was all over.
Again, Riddick Bowe, to me at least, and I've seen him fight 4 or 5 times now, seems to be taking a little step forward every time he fights.
He shows you a little more, and tonight, this is probably the most prominent his uppercut has been. And that's a good sign because this was the opponent to use it against. Somebody smaller, somebody who really was trying to cover up and stay out of the way of Bowe's jab.
He also followed the advice of his corner, and oftentimes you won't see a young fighter do that. A guy who's used to winning, this guy's never lost as a professional, didn't lose that much as an amateur, but he really is listening, and you can tell it's paying off for him.
Well, you sense he's got a burning desire to improve. He adjusted from what was said, and he worked on different things, the body shots and the uppercuts.
Let's get the official word from Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jim Santa, acting on the advice of the physician at ringside, stops the bout at the end of the third round. The winner by TKO. His record now goes to 12-0 with 11 KOs. Riddick Buffalo Bill Bowe.
So Buffalo Bill rides off into the sunset with another W. He wants 3 more fights, he says, before the end of the year. He says he'd like to be 15-0 for tonight. He's 12-0 and winning. Dave Bontempo is with the winner of the last fight, Riddick Bowe. Dave, you got it.
Okay, Barry Riddick, you worked pretty hard for this one tonight. Is that a gratifying thing for you here?
Yes, and also knowing that this guy here was a diehard. I hit him with some tremendous shots, and he just kept coming. He wouldn't stop. But at the end, he submitted, and I am king.
The king in the second round, you seem to have some difficulty. He made himself a smaller target and did his best work against you inside.
Oh, he did. He takes a hell of a punch. But again, you know, I went back to the corner, and Papa Smurf here told me to stop throwing him down and start bringing him up, and it paid off.
Let's take a look at what you did there in the third round. When you did bring him up, take us through it and what's going through your mind here.
Well, right here, I'm trying to set him up for the hook. As you can see, that's all I kept throwing was the uppercut hook, because he told me that would, you know, set him up for the big right hand, and it worked.
Did you? Let's take another look later in the round here as you keep coming on.
Again, I'm trying to throw the uppercut hook, and as you can see, it hurts him a lot. And again, he takes a better punch than I anticipated.
This seemed to be the most prominent your uppercut has been in a while, maybe because of the kind of fighter you were up against.
Well, again, he was shorter, so I had to throw punches up instead of down. Again, because once I threw him down, he was getting away from him.
Okay, let's get a quick assessment from Eddie Futch, his trainer. What did you think tonight, Eddie?
Well, I think this is the kind of fight that I want to see Bowe in. Somebody who's going to give him a stern test in there. Because this is the way that the young fighter like Bowe learns. And learning while winning is the way that I want to see him advance.
What kind of styles do you still want to see him against?
Well, I want to see him against all styles because that's the making of a complete fighter, when he can fight any and everyone regardless of style.
Okay, Eddie, thank you very much, and thank you, Riddick. Congratulations. Don't go away. We've got more top-ranked boxing coming your way from Buffalo. We've got heavyweights coming up. Stay with us.
That's 6-round heavyweight.
Weighing in this morning at 222 pounds, wearing purple and white trunks, from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, with a record of 13 wins, 2 losses, and just 1 defeat, Charlie White Lightning Woolard. And ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner, before introducing the principals, we'll introduce to you perhaps one of the greatest boxing trainers ever to set foot in the ring, the boxing dean, Mr. Eddie Futch.
Eddie Futch, veteran trainer who handled Alex Stewart in his recent fight with Evander Holyfield and has been training Riddick Bowe.
Weighed in this morning at 226 pounds, with white trunks with black stripe, with a record of 12 wins, no losses, 11 knockouts. From the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, New York, Riddick, the Iceman Bowe.
If you could feel a sense of pride in the introductions, it's because Rock Newman is the manager of Riddick Bowe.
Well, you know, Rock Newman has talks will travel, willing to do anything. But again, you know, on account of the snow, the announcer couldn't get here, so Rock Newman is filling in, and admirably, I will say. And his hand didn't even shake when he was making the announcement.
That's right. The man they call White Lightning, Charlie Woolard. There is Riddick Bowe. As an amateur, if there was a criticism of Riddick Bowe, it was his concentration level. His concentration and his determination to train hard. He's always been able to talk a good fight, and when he's in shape, has fought pretty well throughout his amateur career and early in his career as a pro, though the fights I've seen him as a pro, Gil, he really hasn't been tested, hasn't been in against much of an opponent.
Well, he's been, you know, he's been in with some what you call fair guys, and he's just a little too much for them. You know, remember when he was in the amateurs, he really had a big mouth. He was talking about Mike Tyson being a sparring partner within 2 years. And then, of course, he lost in the finals of the Olympics. And I think he learned from that. And I think Rock Newman's done a great job with him. And, of course, he has Eddie Futch, the old master, training him. So he's got a lot of good things going for him.
Oh, moves very well. A lot of spring in his legs, a lot of bounce.
And he can punch.
Throws his jab very well, and he follows with a good straight right hand behind it.
And Woolard's face is already starting to redden from those stiff left jabs of Riddick Bowe. Looping that right hand, Riddick Bowe.
Time, yeah.
And Woolard already is starting to get a discouraged look on his face, Sam. Like, what am I doing here? Good body shots by Bowe.
Bowe will alternate that lead, and when he throws that right hand lead, it's pretty straight and accurate. Woolard with a nice little flurry, just to let Riddick Bowe know he's around. Sometimes that might be a bad thing to do. You wake Riddick Bowe up like that.
Well, I'll tell you, Riddick Bowe has been awake, though, since the opening bell, Sam. Throwing some good snapping left jabs. I like that jab.
Good look of concentration on the face of Riddick Bowe.
Looks like he's just trying to wait for that one big one now, Bowe. Because he's got Woolard set up. There it was.
And again, that time the right hand landed. Woolard felt that, trying to get the left up to block the right hand. And he ties Bowe.
Bowe is very, very smooth, Sam.
Right hand lands again, and another one.
Woolard takes some rap because he's got hit with some solid right hands. A little wobbly right now.
Tough to be always backing up, and that's what Charlie Woolard seems to be doing. Very intimidating presence is Riddick Bowe. End of round one. First round knockouts.
Sam, Woolard seemed a little wobbly getting off the stool.
Could be from those right hands.
Sam, once you have that good jab working the way Riddick Bowe has tonight, you can do an awful lot of things, because once you get that stiff jab in there, you can feint. When a guy falls for the feint, then you can hit him with the big punches and the combinations. Nothing like a good stiff left jab, though. Look at it. There it is again, just to set the guy up.
Hasn't punched in combinations yet in this round, as Eddie Futch had talked to him about between rounds. Redness on the nose of Charlie Woolard. Both just stalking.
Get off the ropes. You see something here for the right hand? Move it. Jab, go to the left. Get away from the big right hand.
Bowe working the body.
There you go. Right back. You wait, Charlie. Go now. Jab and move.
Nothing landed that time. Grazing right hand from Charlie Woolard. There's that right hand lead.
Well, Bowe woke himself up. You see that little dance with his feet? Just made up his mind as if to say, let's get this thing over with. Got his hands down now, Bowe. But look at that stiff jab. Look at that little dance again.
A little showboating time for Riddick Bowe. Smiling to the crowd.
There we go. Complete confidence.
It's a situation where he feels that there's no way that Charlie Woolard can hurt him. And Bowe lands the right hand. Oh, good straight right hand. Woolard went down hard. In a lot of pain, up at 7.
It's
to continue.
Well, we have a brave referee in there now.
Referee is Bill Mosley. There's a cut on the bridge of the nose of Charlie Woolard. Bowe moving in to try and finish him off. Double body shot, right hand, left hook. The count is 4. Woolard again in a lot of pain. The count is 6. Up at 8. Going to continue. There's a 3 knockdown rule in effect. And that's it. It's over. And it could have been stopped before Woolard took any more punches.
Took a lot of unnecessary punishment, Woolard.
He's in a lot of pain, and it was that right hand, left hook, both to the body, that really inflicted a lot of pain on Charlie Woolard.
And you know, Riddick Bowe showed me just about everything tonight, Sam. Just about everything. And I like that stiff jab best of all. But he can punch, Bowe. He puts marks on you.
Riddick Bowe has had 5 first-round knockouts and now 3 second-round knockouts. In 13 fights, he has not been beyond the 4th round. And only once has he gone to a decision. That was with Garing Lane in his 3rd pro fight in Atlantic City.
Let's take a look at that first right hand that Riddick Bowe landed. And there it is, right on the temple, Sam.
Set up well by that jab. And now the body shots that I was talking about, Gil.
Well, again, that's what we say. He showed us just about everything. There's a right hand. Now he's going to bang to the body with both hands. There isn't much more that a guy like a Riddick Bowe could do. He really looked good.
Very promising, Riddick Bowe. Now here, the fight is allowed to continue after the knockdown, and that Woolard getting up. The fight was allowed to continue, and he went down for the 3rd and final time. Let's get the official announcement for Brock Newman.
This fight is stopped at 2 minutes and 46 seconds of the 2nd round. The 3 knockdown rule in effect. The winner for his 13th straight victory, 12 by knockout, Riddick, the Iceman Bowe.
Fans like what they saw of up-and-coming heavyweight Riddick Bowe.
Where we are set for fight night. Our opening bout features the up-and-coming heavyweight that we talked about, Riddick Bowe, taking on Mike Robinson in a scheduled 8-rounder. Riddick Bowe is a young heavyweight who bears watching. The 22-year-old Bowe fought 13 times in his first year as a pro. While his opponents were not much of a threat to the 6'5" Bowe, he disposed of them. December. 12 knockouts, 6 in the 1st round, 3 more in the 2nd round. And there is big Riddick Bowe in the ring, silver medalist in the 1988 Olympics. We are set for the introductions to our opening bout. Let's go to ring announcer Ed Darien.
From the beautiful Imperial Ballroom here at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City Centerpiece, Madison Square Garden Boxing. Bob Goodman, Vice President of Boxing and Matchmaker, and Pat Fleming, Assistant Matchmaker, present Fight Night, and is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. The Honorable Larry Hazard, blue corner, wearing the light blue trunks with the dark blue trim. He weighed in at an even 212 pounds. This fine gentleman has 6 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, with 3 knockouts. From Troy, New York, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mike Robinson. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the red trim. He weighed in at an even 229 pounds. Now this young fella is undefeated in 13 professional bouts with 12 knockouts. The 1988 silver medalist from Brooklyn, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Riddick Bowe.
Kind of a mixed reaction for Riddick Bowe. Mostly cheers, but a smattering of boos. I think people know Riddick Bowe, that he likes to talk. He runs off a little bit. A self-promoter at times.
A little bit of a hot dog, Sam, but you know, hey, that's all part of it.
looking at Riddick Bowe, he looks a little soft to me in the middle, Gil.
It looks very, very soft to be. Not as good as the last time we saw him in St. Joe,
That's
Missouri.
right.
But he does have that ability, Sam. And, you know, you don't see that veteran trainer, Eddie Futch, coming all the way cross country just to work with a guy unless he thinks he can really fight. And I think that Bowe has all the tools to be a real good heavyweight.
We'll see if Mike Robinson can give him any trouble. Robinson, 27 years old, is giving away 5 inches and 17 pounds to Riddick Bowe. Bowe stands 6'5", and Robinson is 6 feet 212. Bowe weighed in at 229.
Find him out, find him out.
Right hand by Bowe grazed the chin of Robinson.
They both threw right hands that time, Sam. You know, you get hit throwing a right hand lead, you can really go. That was a good. Bowe took a big chance throwing that right hand lead.
There is Eddie Futch, the veteran trainer,
Use that stick now, use that stick.
in the corner of Riddick Bowe.
See what Bowe is doing now. He's looking to land those big bombs. He forgets he has that good, stiff, long left jab. Just hasn't used it yet, Sam, in this fight.
Thus far, it's been Robinson carrying the action.
Well, Bowe hasn't snapped that jab out as yet.
Bowe hasn't broken a sweat yet.
They just pushed that one.
Bowe switching to southpaw, now switching back.
You know, it's all right to hot dog outside the ring, Sam, but once you get in here, I think you should forget all about those hot dog moves.
It kind of makes you wonder what he's doing. Really isn't getting off at all with any punches. Ineffective jabs by Riddick Bowe. Mike Robinson's last fight was January the 26th, which he won by a TKO first round.
All right, let him go, break, step out.
Robinson steps back, then steps right in.
Good move by Robinson. One step back, and that's all you have to take, Sam. Right back on the attack. Riddick Bowe's been very, very lazy this round.
Good round for Mike Robinson.
Turn him loose. Get off the head. Get off the head.
Time winding down in round 1. Round 2 scheduled for 8. I thought most of that round belonged to Mike Robinson, but then the final seconds, Riddick Bowe landed a good combination. Gil may have turned this fight in his favor.
Right, the hardest punch of the fight was a right hand by Bowe. And I was a little surprised at Eddie Futch's instructions. He said you have the right hand, the left hook, and the uppercut. Never mentioned the jab, Sam. And I think that right now, that's all Bowe has to do is snap that jab out there. Once you can't hit a guy with a jab, you can't hit him with anything. Once he gets that jab going, he can feint and then throw his combinations.
Robinson continues to throw that right hand. But Robinson, once he gets inside, throws a punch, he leaves himself wide open, and Bowe has been able to come back with a couple of punches. Bowe is the bigger hitter.
A lot of feinting, Bowe. Forget all about that feinting and just snap that jab out there, Sam. You know, a lot of times when these guys score a lot of knockouts, they just look for that one big punch all night long. That's what it looks like Bowe is doing right now.
He went for the uppercut and followed it up. Robinson felt the sting of those punches.
Well, Robinson knows that Bowe can hurt him now. He hurt him in that first round, right at the end of the round.
Robinson still coming in and pressuring Bowe. Bowe covering up well. There's that jab by Bowe. And a good right hand by Riddick Bowe.
Get off his head. Stay off the back of his head.
You know, Robinson doesn't have a reputation as a big puncher. And most guys that can't punch usually can take a better punch than guys that are big punchers, Sam. He's got hit with some good shots, and he's still there.
But I think a few more of those, Gil, and he'll start wearing down. Bowe has landed some big punches. But surprisingly, at this range, Bowe is not using that jab.
Get off his neck.
Every punch is a big punch by Bowe. He's just pushing that jab out, Sam. He's really using it as a rangefinder. No snap to it at all.
Just pawing with that jab. Good solid right to the body by Bowe.
No holding.
Coming toward the end of round 2.
Stay back in the corner.
Round 3. Scheduled for
Nice
8.
and clean. Looking good.
Riddick Bowe in the black trunks. Mike Robinson in the light blue. How have you scored the first 2 rounds?
I had the first round dead even, and I gave Bowe a slight edge in the second round. I mean, Bowe is landing the big punches, but he's not just throwing enough. The other kid is just working. Good blue-collar worker.
I gave Robinson the first round, even though Bowe landed those punches late. Robinson trying to fight off Bowe. Got in a good left hook. Bowe has been working to the body. But a warning to keep his punches up from referee Rudy Battle.
Get off his neck.
Boy, Robinson showing no fear of Riddick Bowe at all.
Well, he's out hustling Bowe at the moment, Sam. Throwing 4 punches to 1.
Now Bowe trying to set up that right hand.
That's about the stiffest jab that Bowe threw. Just then he landed a good stiff jab.
Robinson let him walk in with that right hand. And that's a big mistake. Good left hook by Bowe. Robinson starting to wilt under the power of Riddick Bowe. Bowe loading up with punches. Combination by Robinson.
Good right hand by Robinson. Good straight right hand by Robinson. He's a game kid.
No holding, no holding, no holding.
This one, it looks like he's getting hurt. He comes back. Oh, good right hand by Bowe. Robinson hurt again. Trying to cover up.
Set that right hand up, Sammy. Finally threw a couple of left jabs.
Robinson is in trouble. Wilting on the ropes. Trying to cover up. Bowe lands a good left hook that rocked Robinson. Robinson hurt again. Rudy Battle steps in and as he stopped the fight. There is a standing 8 count in New Jersey, but Rudy Battle stopped it.
Well, I think it was a good move to stop the fight, Sam. He was getting hurt. He started to look at the canvas. He didn't know where Riddick Bowe was. And, you know, 2 punches, when you don't see them coming, can really hurt you.
Man, what are you doing? I said sit down. You want to get disqualified?
Riddick Bowe scores yet another knockout on his record. His 13th in 14 fights. But he's far from being in top shape, Gil.
No, he wasn't as impressive again as he was. Now let's take a look at this action in the corner, Sam. He pushes that jab out, nothing on the jab. But he did work to the body. There was a good rabbit punch, and there's another rabbit punch.
158, John.
Robinson's trying to get into some kind of a shell, and there's that good left hook. That was the big left hook, I think, that decided Rudy Battle to stop the fight. See, you can see that Robinson's not even looking at Riddick Bowe, and that's when you can really get hurt.
But Bowe making some basic mistakes, almost some amateurish mistakes.
Looked like an amateur, Sam. He was pawing with that left jab all night long, just looking to land that one big bomb. I think maybe he's reading his press clippings a little bit too much.
A little harder work in the gym and on the road might help him. But Riddick Bowe is added to the perfect record. It is 14-0, 13 knockouts. He continues to just line them up and take the fights wherever he can get them.
Well, that's exactly what Mike Tyson did.
Though his manager was complaining that people are avoiding him. I don't know about that. But we'll see. as we watch the progress of Riddick Bowe. Let's get the official time from ring announcer Ed Darian.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Rudy Battle stops this bout at 1 minute and 58 seconds of the third round, and the winner by a TKO for his 14th straight win in as many pro bouts, Riddick Bowe. And how about a nice round of applause for Mike Robinson? Let's hear it for him. Music, please.
Riddick Bowe, coming to the end of his first complete year as a pro, now 14-0 with 13 knockouts as he stops Mike Robinson in the third round. We'll be back with more Fight Night from Atlantic City in a moment.
Gelb Promotions, in association with Harris, present this evening's main event, a scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout, and is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, the Honorable Larry Hazard, Senior Commissioner. The judges, Eva Shane, Rocky Castellani, and Debbie Barnes. Counting for the knockdown seconds, alternate referee Joe Cortez. The timekeeper to bell is Lindsey Tucker. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout, referee Teddy Pick. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the white trim. He tipped in at an even 227 pounds. This gentleman is undefeated in 10 professional bouts, including 1 draw with 8 knockouts. He is a native of Caguas, Puerto Rico, and now residing in Coventry, Rhode Island. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome aboard Jesus Manny Contreras. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with the red trim. He weighed in at an even 228 pounds. Now this young man is undefeated in 16 professional bouts with 14 knockouts. The 1984 Olympic silver medalist. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is from the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, New York. Here he is, the Brownsville Bomber Bro, Riddick Bowe.
I'll follow your strict instructions. Give me a nice clean fight. When I tell you to break, I want you to break. Is that understood? Any questions? Good luck to both of you. Shake hands.
Manny Contreras, power in both hands, goes up against Riddick Bowe, big heavyweight who's shown that he can move, he could box, and he can punch. He wins this one, looks for a future date against Art Tucker if Art Tucker wins his fight tonight. So Riddick Bowe now measuring Manny Contreras. Bowe with 14 knockouts in his 16 wins, and 6 of them have come in the first round.
You know, I just hope that Bowe isn't overlooking this fight. You talked about the fight with Tucker. That's coming up June 8th. If Tucker wins tonight. But I hope his concentration is on Manny Contreras tonight. We saw what can happen.
I guess it is.
That answers my question.
Compassion from Ted Pick and some coaching. Trying to keep his hands up, and Riddick Bowe looking to step in and end it very quickly. Now Eddie Futch has been working on many things with Riddick Bowe. One was to get more aggressive, and he could not be happier if Bowe finishes this one off in the first round. And Bowe, all 6'5", on top of Contreras. And down he goes, crunch to the midsection, down for the second time. And he may not survive this knockdown. It is waved off by Teddy Pick. Riddick Bowe, in a hurry, makes it 17-0, and his 15th knockout, the 7th in the first round. Manager Rock Newman out there with Riddick Bowe, who hardly broke a sweat in this one, so he has the answer of whether he stepped up in competition. Here tonight, Riddick Bowe doing it very quickly, and he is just about ready to step up the competition. Art Tucker looks to be over the horizon. Contreras hardly got a chance to get to know Manny.
Well, Bowe showed his effectiveness upstairs early with the right hand. Then he went downstairs and showed the effectiveness of the body. Good arsenal of punches. Nice weapons. Here's a look at it again. Boom, the right hand upstairs, just over that dragging left hand of Manny Contreras. Down goes Bowe. Contreras got up. There's that knockdown once again, the same punch. Another angle. Contreras got up. He was holding his hands high, unrealizing that his body was open. Downstairs went Riddick Bowe.
Only the second time Contreras had been down. He had delivered 8 knockouts in his 9 victories, but becomes the 15th victim of Riddick Bowe. And let's get the time. Here's our ring announcer, Ed Derry.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time of this bout, 1 minute and 18 seconds of the first round, and the winner by a knockout for his 17th straight win in as many pro bouts, the Brownsville Pro Bomber, Riddick Bowe.
Well, Riddick Bowe, as Sean mentioning, getting the nickname Ridiculous Bowe because of the easy opponents he has taken along the way, but there is a bright side to that. He has had 14 months to work with Eddie Futch, and he has learned so much, and this is the first time we've seen him come out.
From the beautiful Broadway by the Bay Theater, here at Harrah's Marina Hotel and Casino in the better Atlantic City, New Jersey, the boxing capital of the world. Frank Gell Promotions, in association with Harrah's, proudly presents this afternoon's scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of this scheduled 10-round bout, referee Tony Orlando. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the red trunks with the white trim. He weighed in at an even 217 pounds. This young fella has 17 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 13 knockouts. From Newark, New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome aboard Big Art Tucker. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with the blue trim. He tipped in at an even 225 pounds. This young man is undefeated in 17 professional bouts with 15 knockouts. The 1988 Olympic silver medalist in a super heavyweight division from Brooklyn, New York. Boxing fans, here is Riddick Bowe.
Okay, come close here. Gentlemen, you received your instructions. Therefore, I expect you to listen to all my commands, and I expect a clean, professional fight. This time, have any questions? Okay, touch gloves. Good luck. Go back to your corner.
Referee Tony Orlando with the final instructions, and there the tail of the tape with Bowe coming in at 225, Tucker at 217. He feels is an optimum age for him, and even though his age is listed at 31, it is generally accepted by those who have done the investigations that he is actually 33 years of age. Officially, the publicity releases have him at 31.
Yeah,
so we're ready for round number 1.
Inspector Clouseau found out that he was 33 years of age.
That's right. The judges are Frank Brunette from Rahway, New Jersey, Rocky Castellani from Atlantic City, and Richard Strange from Bricktown, New Jersey.
Tucker starts out with a real fast 1-2, Tim. Means business.
Tucker in red, Riddick Bowe in white. Both of them with their families in attendance here today, and a lot of supporters, obviously, with Tucker here from Newark, New Jersey, his nearby hometown, and Riddick Bowe not too far away, Brooklyn, New York.
2 big guys, Tim.
Big in every way. Tucker stands 6'6" and Bowe 6'5".
And Tim, they can both punch. Can't blink in a fight like this.
Tucker's only lost to Kimuel Odom, a 9th round stoppage, a fight in which everybody agreed he wasn't in the best of physical shape. He's since come back with a 1-round victory over Marcellus Brown.
And Riddick Bowe unbeaten in his 17 professional fights. Minute gone by in round number 1, scheduled for 10.
No punching, no punching, I said. Oh, come on, I said, break through the muscles. Let's go. Let him go. Step back from him, step back.
Tucker is bending low, Tim, and he's bringing himself right into Riddick Bowe's punching range. Good right hand by Tucker.
Excellent right hand by Tucker.
And there's that snapping jab that we were talking about.
Eddie Futch says that Bowe's jab is as good as Muhammad Ali's was in his time. That's quite a statement for Eddie Futch to make about his protege, Riddick Bowe. And he feels that his potential is unlimited. He's not saying he's ready for the title shot this year, but he feels that he is definitely going to be a top contender. A minute remaining, round 1.
At the moment, Bowe is a little over-anxious, Tim, reaching in with his punches, and that can be dangerous.
Let him go, let him go.
You heard Bowe predict a knockout of Tucker in his interview with us. Tucker goes down. It was not from a blow. He actually missed a combination and then got his feet tangled up with Bowe.
Yeah, 3rd and 10, Tim. No punches involved.
Under the 30-second mark to go, round 1. Another miss by Tucker.
Tim, at least he's getting them off. And Bowe is not making him pay when he misses up to this point. And Tucker should not stay inside, Tim.
Bowe landed 2 short shots inside in the last exchange. Final seconds of round 1. Right landed by Tucker, a left missed by Bowe. Then he lands with a left hook and another left hook and a short right. Action-packed final seconds of round number 1. They were still throwing leather at the bell. Looking into the corner now of Art Tucker. Working with him is trainer Ali Stoltz, a former boxer of some distinction himself. And he has Walter Sykes and Al Gavin, his cut man.
Listen to Uncle Al. He's got a slight cut over your left side.
Riddick Bowe, managed by Rock Newman. Trained by Eddie Futch, as we mentioned earlier. Going back into that exchange right at the bell. Oh, this was just prior to the bell, pardon me, when Tucker went down, getting his feet tangled up. And here's the action just as they came to the final bell. Both fighters landing a couple of good shots. Now live to round number 2. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy at Harrah's in Atlantic City. Tucker in red, Riddick Bowe in white.
Tim, Tucker was a little over-anxious. He should be working behind that jab. Instead, he's reaching with that right hand. Both guys have left themselves wide open at times in this fight, Tim. And you see Tucker bending down. He's the big, tall guy. He should be making this guy reach and then try to nail him. Bowe seems to be getting the range.
Bowe been more effective inside when Tucker's given him that opportunity. Now has Tucker pinned in the Bowe corner.
And Tucker is hurt, Tim.
A good left hook.
He's hurt.
Tucker. Tucker trying to punch his way out of the corner.
Well, he's where he doesn't belong. He shouldn't be inside with the stronger, heavier Riddick Bowe.
Bowe missing the overhand right.
But he was able to tie up Tucker after the miss.
Tucker now again resting on the ropes over there. Dangerous territory. Right to the body, and now Bowe just banging to the open spots in the midsection and ribs of Art Tucker.
You can see Bowe using his strength inside there. He's pushing Tucker with his forearms, keeping Tucker a little off balance inside. Now Tucker just got his hand caught in the ropes. Good left hook by Tucker.
Tucker came off with 2 good shots that landed and lands a right uppercut lead.
Tucker seems to be wearing down a little bit, though, Tim. Looks a little tired, and it's only the 2nd round.
Tucker caught Bowe leaning in. Bowe again bangs to the body. Under a minute we go in round number 2.
I don't know about Bowe, but I know Tucker can't keep this pace up, Tim. No way.
Let him go. All right, break. No punches. Step back.
Tucker should get out and start to move a little bit and snap that jab.
Bowe jabbing, missed with a right, came back with a left. Under 30 seconds we go round 2. And Tucker lands a right hand. Little cut, it appears, at the corner of the left eye of Tucker.
Well, Al Gavin will take care of that, Tim. Good cut, man.
A right to the jaw from Bowe. And Tucker pinned in the corner in a combination by Bowe.
And you can see Bowe outstrengthening him inside, Tim. He's pushing.
So a big round for Riddick Bowe, and they'll have to work on that cut in the corner of Art Tucker. Al Gavin is cut man,
cut is high. You're
and
all
it
right.
looks like it's high on the eyebrow.
Can't let this guy get off the fucking corners. Get out of corners. Tie him up. Get off first.
Where's the water? Where the water? Where the water?
The guy's bullshit. Take
Just below the eyebrow.
You're in good shape.
I got it.
All right,
I got it. Yeah. Okay.
You gotta get off first. You understand? Fucking left and right.
Let's go back into the second round and see a good left hand from Bowe that really rocked Tucker. That was prior to the cut opening up. It was the best punch of the round.
That was probably the best punch of the fight, Tim. Really wobbled Art Tucker. He got nailed again with that right hand near the end of the round.
Round number 3. Art Tucker in red, Riddick Bowe in white. Scheduled for 10. 2 unranked heavyweights, both hoping an impressive showing here today will launch them into the top 10.
You know, Tim, when at the beginning of the fight, Tucker started out with a good snapping jab. Good hook.
Down goes Tucker. Both punchers letting him fly at the same time, but Bowe sending Tucker down.
7, 8.
They both threw left hooks, Tim, and Riddick Bowe beat him to the punch.
Tucker up quickly, took the 8 count and is back out there. See whether Bowe can follow up. Bowe getting some free shots now. Tucker finally fires back.
And Tucker has forgot all about boxing, all about the fact that he has a good jab. He's brawling with a brawler.
And his legs look a little shaky here, to say the least.
Very shaky, Tim. Look at Bowe working inside short punches. That's that Eddie Fudge teaching.
Tucker with a minute gone here in the 3rd round.
And now watch, Tucker just has forgot to throw a jab, Tim. Hasn't used the jab at all.
Good right hand sends him down again. 2 knockdowns in this round. Remember, in New Jersey, if he is knocked down 3 times, that's it. He may not get up from this one. Let's see.
9.
Tucker gets to his feet.
You okay?
Tony Orlando asks him how he is. He'll continue.
It's just a matter of time now, though, Tim. Tucker fought the wrong fight after the 1st round.
Now Bowe backs him into the ropes, and they'll stop it. It's all over. Tony Orlando stepping in, saving Tucker from further punishment as he was wobbly on the ropes, and Riddick Bowe has stopped Art Tucker in the 3rd round here in Atlantic City. At 118 of the 3rd, and the undefeated Riddick Bowe continues on his path into the top 10. Now standing at 18-0 with 16 KOs. The Olympic silver medalist. And Gil, you referred to his strength in this fight as we see Tucker's cut being attended to by Dr. Frank Doggett. The physical strength, the weight advantage of Bowe seemed to be a factor.
It was the biggest factor in the fight, Tim. And Art Tucker started out the 1st round snapping a jab, throwing some nice right hands, but after the 1st round, it became a brawl. And he certainly couldn't brawl with Riddick Bowe. Bowe was too big and strong.
First knockdown in round number 3 scored by Riddick Bowe, and they both exchanged those lefts. And now we'll see the second knockdown was a right to the ear. Down went Tucker, and he was in trouble on the ropes when Tony Orlando stepped in to stop it. And the undefeated Riddick Bowe with an impressive show here. scores a third-round knockout. So now let's take you to our studios in New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, thank you, Tim.
We're back live in Atlantic City. Let's get the official time from Ed Darien.
From the beautiful Broadway by the Bay Theater, here at Harrah's Marina Hotel and Casino, referee Tony Orlando stops this bout at 1 minute and 41 seconds of the third round, and a winner by a TKO, and still undefeated, Riddick Bowe. And let's hear it one more time for Big Art Tucker. Let's hear it.
Well, here's the winner with a third-round knockout, Riddick Bowe. And Riddick, I think you have to feel very good about this performance. You predicted a knockout.
In 3 rounds, man, I might add.
You might add, and I knew you would add. But I think you should feel good about it also, because one of the knocks, if you will, of your performances so far is simply that you haven't been in against tough guys as you've started to learn this professional side of your career. But everybody felt that Art Tucker was a good test for you. Did you have the same feeling?
Well, first of all, I have no control over who I fight. Number 2, I was a good fighter, but I'm so much superior.
How superior are you? In other words, at what level should we see Riddick Bowe fighting next?
Well, we'll keep on fighting guys with the same ability as Art. Then after a while, we'll move up a notch again.
All right. Let's go back and look into that first knockdown of the third round here. It looked like both of you unloaded big left hands. You just got there faster.
Yeah, I was trying to set him up with the left hook, but that's the right hand right there.
That's the second
right
knockdown.
Hand is lethal. I hit him with that small nuclear warhead. He couldn't do nothing but fall.
Well, now, after that second knockdown, you had him in trouble against the ropes, and referee Tony Orlando watching him very closely here. You knew you had him done.
Oh, yeah. Papa Smurf told me to, try to stay close to him, don't throw my right hand, from too far out. But again, I got to go back to the gym and work on that. But I knew it was just a matter of time before I got him.
You better explain to Papa Smurf, as you call him, is Eddie Futch, 78 years young, one of the great trainers in boxing history. And Eddie, you've been making some extravagant comments about your young man, comparing his jab to Muhammad Ali and his potential of that of Larry Holmes.
Well, I firmly believe in these predictions and these comments, because he's shown me that he has the tools. I saw Larry Holmes when he was beginning, and Bowe, I think, has surpassed Larry Holmes at the like stage of their development.
All right, well, Bowe knows boxing. We know that by now. The point is, how soon is it realistic to see him up there in the heavyweight title picture?
Well, let me answer that.
Oh, you answer that.
We're not in a rush, but on the other hand, we're not going to waste any time. When the opportunity presents itself, and Papa Smurf and my manager, Rock Newman, feel it's going ready, then we'll take on such guys as Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield and Buster Douglas.
All right, Riddick, good luck to you. Good show here today. We thank you for a good performance here on Sports Sunday. Riddick Bowe, third round knockout victory over Art Tucker. Now we've got